On this week's episode of From Mill to Still, so many things happened this week that I need my phone to keep up with it all. We started the week in nasty rain, so we had to work inside and we had some more flooring to take care of. So we got the last of the boulders out, we scraped around the old footings, and we got everything ready so where now we can just cut loose and backfill next time the weather's bad. The sun came out. Yay! So we got the equipment and started working outside again. First thing we did was clean up all the mud. So Trinity just had to put a light coat of stone, ABC stone, down over the entire parking lot. We took care of that, and he went and did some yard work, including sorting boulders out of a ditch. Once we had the yard kind of cleaned up and the mud under control, we switched to bricking in openings. The mason, he went back, and where that door was, where the Austrian consulate sign is, he pulled that door out and started in that roof off, and he started bricking in that opening. That's gonna be a half window down the road, so that's really cool and kind of weird to see done. Big steps this week in waterproofing. We finally peeled back the earth away from the building and started painting waterproofing on the walls that are gonna be underground. So now that we're lowering the floor even more, we need to make sure water has a place to go that's not inside and through the wall. The walls are super damp, so it took a lot of work to get that cleared out and get that waterproofing on. Right now you can see that the waterproofing's done. We've put 57 stone down in the trench, and Trinity's in there rolling out piping. That piping is actually gonna have to go under the building, and the reason for that is we found boulders this week. When we were digging out all this nonsense, not only do we find old brick and stone and whatever in the dirt, we also found boulders that are the size of my car. Bigger than my truck, that's for sure. And they affect how the pipe runs. So instead of going through the boulders, we have to go around them, or we have to chisel them out. And in one particular case, we had to go under the footing, under the building, and run 50 feet across the building so that we can get the drains out the other side, which was pretty intense. Now, this building is built on top of giant mountains of rock, or mounds of rock. We came in here to waterproof, and we knocked out all of this concrete that the previous owner had just put here, probably to keep water out. We took that back to its original grade. We waterproofed here, and as we're digging down, we found this giant boulder. And at first we were like, oh my God, look at this giant boulder. And then we realized, wait a second, we already knew about this boulder. The majority of what we've seen is on the other side of this wall, inside the building. So I'll show you that in a second. Are you ready? Are you ready now? So as we're going down the trench, we keep waterproofing and we're digging, and we find this other boulder, and we're starting to cut it, and you can't cut it because a quickie saw, like a chainsaw with a 14-inch wheel, apparently isn't enough to cut through this granite stone. So we don't know what we're gonna do as of right now, but maybe next week I'll have a solution. I'll let you guys know. This is the loading dock here. This is the finished grade. The slab of concrete's going here. Where this camera is standing is where the food trucks are gonna be. So you can go downstairs, out that old door, through this boulder to the food trucks. Oh, I'm so excited. Like, this is really turning into a mill. I mean, it's still me. All right. So this is the other side of that boulder. That one that was just on the other side of those double doors goes under the building, or the building goes on top of it, more likely, because it was here first. And it's here. It's just barely proud of the slab that's supposed to be here, which means I really want to leave it, and that way people can see it. It almost acts like a step down from upstairs where the bar is. But like if a forklift touches this with its tire carrying something heavy, it's gonna get all tipsy and be dangerous. So I think we're gonna have to cut it. We've called a company that might come out here and hydraulically cut some grooves in it, and then we can sledgehammer the chunks out so we can pour concrete on top. But that's pretty cool, right? This mill is built on top of freaking boulders, and this boulder is massive. I mean, this is just the tip of the iceberg, tip of the boulder berg. So we've been working a lot, backfilling this. In fact, I'm probably standing on 4 feet of fill dirt right here. It goes as deep as 12 feet behind me, from the new finished floor that is, maybe like 3 feet deep of fill. The wet dirt that we were bringing in was pumping really bad, so we had to pull it out, and that was like just double the work, which is terrible, but the engineer said it's gotta be done right, otherwise you're gonna regret it later. So we pulled it out. We noticed while we were pulling all this stuff out that, oh my God, this old stacked stone footing is actually loose and coming apart. So quick fix, just some, you know, ratchet straps, and we came in here and we tightened her up. So now everything's good to go, right? It's good enough to get us to a point where we're gonna replace all the posts and all of the footings with new concrete, and this building won't settle anymore. After all of this is backfilled, we're actually gonna come in here with giant bottle jacks and pick the floor above me up 3 inches. Rehab apparently does this all the time. I never did it when I was working for them, so I'm a little scared and I don't wanna pay for it, but it's gotta be right. So that's how we're gonna do it. Down in that hole where you see it's been bricked up, Arturo just did that, and we don't know exactly what was there, but I'm pretty sure when the water wheel was outside, that hole is where the belts entered the building. Those belts came through the wall, they went up to here. In this location, there are 2 giant brick, I call them coffins or tombs. These brick coffins hold giant steel rods, and actually in these little nooks and crannies, I don't know what was in there. In these nooks and crannies, there's the rods where they bolted in through here. And I think they held some sort of apparatus that held the giant wheel that turned everything in the building and ran the factory. We had to knock them down so we could pour our slab. The slab will be right here. So this will be where the new concrete is when we're all done. This thing that held the water wheel inside the building hasn't seen sunlight since 1875 because we just cut that hole in the wall today. Arnold cut that hole in the wall today. He's been hacking away at it. I'd say one of my favorite things that's happening right now is we're tearing out this old window here. This is gonna be a double door so we can access the back of the building. The masons have been tearing this out, and you can see the pile down low. They're actually having to save every brick so we can repair other parts of the building. That window, that hole right there was a nasty patch that's been around for 70 or so years. And I'm super stoked to be able to say that that's gonna be the same exact size of the original opening when they used that to get in and out of the building, and actually across to this building here. And we're gonna put doors in it, so if we need to, we can still get out in the yard with the forklift. And then we're gonna build a 12-foot tall retaining wall that leads up to that door. So that'll all be level ground at the row lock right there, which is super cool. We got rid of the gas meter that's here. Since we have to build this giant retaining wall that will go up to right here, the gas meter had to come out before we could bury it. Dominion Gas is who services Mount Holly. Those guys were super awesome and they took care of it right away. So we're all set to backfill this area. In the future, there will be forklifts driving literally right here out the door. We finally got the Bobcat back. Rehab's Bobcat's been under the weather, well, literally with the mud, but the Bobcat had a wiring issue, and thankfully Bobcat was able to take care of that, bring our Bobcat back right away. I think literally it was gone a day, and it sat broken for like several weeks. So that'll help us move forward faster, backfilling the crawl space. All right, this is pretty exciting. This is new to Even Breathe that's filming this video right now. You ready? I'm gonna show you. Okay. All right, this is new, right? You haven't seen this before. Come through this hole. We have a window factory. Jay is here, and Jay has built a factory to restore all our windows. All these windows have been taken down so that he can begin the process of rebuilding them. These windows are really gross. They had muttons tore out of them. The jambs are all messed up. There's years, decades, centuries of paint on them, glazing, caulking, all sorts of nonsense. So he's milling out different styles of the window, piecing them back as he needs, and no staples, no nonsense here. He's doing this properly, which is really cool. All this material here is a wood they call red grandis. They're gonna put linseed oil on this, then they're gonna prime it, then they're gonna paint it, then they're gonna install it. And these windows will not be renovated, they will be restored. And that's really cool. So if you come over here, you can see just the different parts of the process. You have the place where he routes it, where they mill it, where they chop it. And then over here, you have the primed window. All right, so this is a window that's almost done. It'll need another coat of primer. It'll need to be cleaned where the glazing was. Then it's ready for paint, and then it gets screwed in place. These won't function in the new place because of the floor height here. We don't want people to have the ability to open this window and jump out or mess around. We're gonna secure them in place. And then if we need to, we can unscrew them to fix parts down the road. This is a really huge aspect of what we're doing here. And I'm gonna do a really detailed video about how this all works, a step-by-step of it. But the historic nature and character of this building really grows around the windows. The Park Service even wants to know the type of molding, the type of router bit we're using to do this style, and it has to match the original window style. So Jay's had to buy several sets of router bits, custom-made router bits for the Mount Holly cotton mill. Super cool. And that's our week. That was a busy week at the mill. Despite the rain and nastiness, we got so much stuff done. Don't forget to check out our series, so you'll have detailed videos, and there's also other things on our YouTube channel. Totally worth subscribing and checking out. Thank you so much for watching. Comment below if you have any questions or anything you want to see in the mill, and cheers.